Get out of here by today, you old hag. By today? And I'm going to dispose of all your stuff. It's just in the way at home. Janet, my husband's mistress, made a gesture as if shooing me away. I was seething, and then my husband interrupted. Make sure not to leave even a single piece of trash. My anger reached its limit. Sighing, I muttered in response. Okay. Then, I turned my back on the two of them. When caught cheating, you normally apologize. Why be so defiant? And to say, move out because we're living together? Don't be ridiculous. They keep saying whatever suits them, but do they really think I don't have incriminating evidence against them? Well, that's fine by me. Enjoy yourselves for now. I'm preparing my revenge. Smirking, I headed to my room. My name is Iris. I've been married to my husband Roger for nearly 20 years. I'm 48 and work from home as a designer, while Roger, 2 years my senior, is a successful systems engineer. Our son Sam, born soon after we married, is now 19 and a proud college student. You'd think we're a happy family, but in reality, it's not the case. Roger's recent behavior has been quite suspicious. On weekends, he sneaks out, and on weekdays, he comes home very late. Moreover, when he gets phone calls at home, he never answers them in front of me. It's clear to me he's having an affair. Lately, I've been thinking, if he's cheating, divorce is the only option. I've been having these thoughts more often. Looking back, Roger's attitude changed a few years ago. It was when Sam was in middle school and our expenses started to rise. Despite this, Roger's salary was gradually decreasing. When I asked him about it, he said, "The economy is bad and the company is struggling." There wasn't much I could do. I cut down on our living expenses, but it wasn't enough. So I thought about getting a job and discussed it with Roger. "Hey, I'm thinking of getting a part-time job." "Huh? Are we short on money?" "There are Sam's tuition fees and all." I opened up to Roger about our financial struggles. Suddenly, he got angry. "It's because you waste money." I was taken aback by this side of Roger. Sure, we've had fights before. But this was completely different. Something was off, but I argued back. I don't waste money. "Then you're just incompetent. Everyone's useless." He went on complaining about his colleagues at work, that he even had to help with sales. Roger's rant seemed endless. In the end, I gave up on discussing it with him. Later, a former colleague from the company I worked at before marriage, who had started her own business, contacted me. She asked if I could help with her work. I had quit when I got married, more than a decade ago. There was a gap, but I couldn't pass up this opportunity. I accepted her offer. This is how I started working from home as a designer. Of course, I reported this to Roger, but he just said, "Oh, okay." He seemed uninterested, hardly listening to me. Nonetheless, I was sure to report it. I continued my work with pride. Sometime later, on a weekday, while I was working, Sam unexpectedly returned home. "I'm home." "What's up? Why are you here at this hour?" It was just past noon. Sam was a middle school student at the time. He should have had classes until the evening, followed by club activities. It didn't make sense for him to be home so early. "Didn't I tell you it's midterm exams from today?" Then it hit me. I looked at the calendar, and sure enough, it said exams. I forgot. I'll make lunch right away. I hurried to prepare Sam's lunch. Then I heard Sam's voice from behind. "Mom, were you working?" "Your laptop is out, and there are various documents and stuff on the table." Sam was pointing to the work papers and laptop I had left on the living room table. Sorry. I'll clean it up right away." "No, it's okay. You can do it later, but there's something I want to tell you." Sam ran to his room. He soon came back with his tablet. "I'm making a game. I want to be an engineer like Dad." Sam showed me the game he created on his tablet. It's not as good as commercial games, but it's definitely well made. That's amazing.
I want to go to a vocational school. Do you think Dad will agree?
If you show him this, he surely will. I wholeheartedly supported Sam, but our hopes were shattered, because when Roger saw Sam's self-made game, he harshly criticized it.
This is it? Don't make me laugh.
But...
No, it's no good at all. I could make something like this in 10 minutes.
Roger laughed, clutching his stomach. I was furious at the sight of him. To a systems engineer like Roger, Sam's game might seem like child's play. It's one thing to give professional advice, but mocking is unacceptable. As I was about to complain, Roger continued to Sam.
If you have time to play with things like this, you should study more.
Think about how you say things. When I intervened, Roger got irritated.
What? You have a problem with my way of educating?
Yes, I do. You should encourage our child's independence more.
Huh? After all, educating children is the wife's job, right? If you had educated him properly, this wouldn't be happening.
I immediately clammed up. Arguing with this man is pointless. I have to help Sam. In the end, I just silently listened to Roger's complaints. I waited for his anger to subside. The next day, when Roger was not around, I said to Sam, Sam, I'll buy you a computer so you can study game development.
Really?
Yes, if Dad says anything, I'll tell him I'm using it for work. Thus, I bought an expensive desktop computer with my own money for Sam. Roger looked puzzled, but I insisted it was for work. This incident gradually worsened the relationship between Roger and me. Of course, I've considered divorce, but it's not easy to bring it up with Roger around. I continued to feel stressed. Meanwhile, Sam went to college.
I chose college so I could study more professionally, and I don't think Dad would object.
Before I knew it, Sam had grown up to be quite wise. Maybe I could manage even if I divorced. That's what I was thinking when it happened. Sam came home from college in a rush.
Mom, listen.
What's wrong, Sam? I stopped my work and looked up. Sam's face was very pale. I felt anxious, wondering what had happened. Sam hesitated before starting.
Actually, I saw Dad cheating.
Dad's affair? When I asked, Sam explained the details. It happened a few hours ago. Sam was on his way to college for a lecture, but then a friend informed him that the lecture was canceled, so they went to hang out downtown. That's where he saw Roger walking arm in arm with a young woman. He pretended not to see because his friends were there, but he couldn't bear it and came home.
Sorry, if I hadn't been with my friends, I would have confronted Dad right there.
That would have been too much. I understood Sam's pain. But for me, Roger's affair wasn't news. Looking back, his recent behavior was strange. He'd leave home immediately on weekends and come back late on weekdays. He'd even sneak around to make phone calls at home. I couldn't not suspect him. That's why I had previously commissioned an investigation into Roger's conduct. I already had the results. When I told Sam about it, he looked surprised and asked,
So, you were calm about it? Are you planning to divorce?
The investigation's outcome was the worst. Probably.
Okay, I won't say anything if that's your decision.
That made things easier. That night, I intended to confront Roger when he returned home, but he didn't come back. He must have realized Sam saw him. Roger finally returned home the following Sunday, and he brought an unknown woman with him. I see, so this woman is the mistress, I thought, and the woman spoke first. Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Janet. I'm dating Roger. Her shameless greeting infuriated me. Meanwhile, Roger said to me,
So, I'm going to live with Janet. We're getting divorced, so please leave.
What's the reason?
A successful man like me deserves a younger woman, not an old lady like you.
Roger smirked. How dare he? I responded sarcastically. Oh, really? That's exactly what I wanted, I said with a snide tone. Then Janet pointed at me, looking annoyed. You're so arrogant for an old lady. Think you can live alone? Don't worry about me. I work, so I'll be fine. Oh well, then let's get divorced quickly. Janet pulled out a divorce paper from her pocket and threw it at my feet. I'll definitely claim alimony from both of you. Janet frowned in displeasure at my words. Roger just stood there smirking. I signed the divorce paper and handed it to Roger. At that moment, Janet said triumphantly, Get out by today, old hag. By today? And dispose of all your things. They're just in the way at home. Janet made a shooing gesture. I was fuming, and Roger interjected. Remember, don't leave a single piece of trash. My anger reached its peak. Sighing, I muttered in response. Okay. Then I turned my back on them. When caught cheating, you'd normally apologize. Why act so defiant? And leave because we're living together? How ridiculous. They always say what's convenient for them, but do they think I don't have incriminating evidence? Well, if that's the case, I don't mind. Enjoy your time for now. I'm preparing my revenge. Smirking, I went to my room. Before packing my things, I called the waste disposal company. I arranged for the garbage collection and then started packing. After a while, Sam, who had been out, returned. I could hear the conversation between Roger and Sam in the living room. But soon they started arguing. It's because you cheated, Dad. Apologize to Mom first. Shut up. It's none of your business. After such a conversation, it suddenly became quiet. I peeked into the living room and saw only Sam. Sam, where are they? They went on a trip together. Ridiculous, right? Sam stamped his foot in frustration. I felt relieved. With Roger gone, I could do as I pleased. Time for my revenge. I spoke to Sam with a smile. Sam, I'm getting divorced and moving out. Will you come with me? Of course. Then let's start packing. And I shared a plan with Sam. Hearing it, he obediently started preparing for the move. Meanwhile, the waste disposal company arrived. I led them inside. Dispose of everything in this room, the furniture and appliances. Everything? There are new items too. It's fine. I'll buy new ones after moving. I instructed them to dispose of the furniture and appliances in my and Sam's rooms. But I didn't touch anything in the living room. Those were shared properties with Roger. I didn't want to dispose of them and face complaints. Anyway, I had them remove my belongings and the things I bought. They'll regret it. Later in the evening, I handed my belongings to the moving company. I hadn't decided where to move yet, so I asked them to keep the items for a while. Meanwhile, Sam and I moved to the nearby Holiday Inn. We decided to stay there for a while. A few days later, during breakfast, Roger called. Hello, what's up? What do you mean, what's up? Did you really throw away the furniture and appliances? Huh? Of course, it was your idea, wasn't it? As I said that, Roger suddenly faltered. He's saying something incomprehensible. Annoyed, I scolded Roger. You're the one who said to throw it away. Don't complain now. Well, yes, but... His response was hesitant. I guess he really needed that, after all. Actually, I knew what Roger was looking for. Knowing this, I told him everything was disposed of. As I was thinking this, Roger became surprisingly meek. Which company did you use for disposal? Why do you want to know? Well, there's something I'm looking for. Just as I thought, I smirked. Then I asked deliberately, Looking for something? The fridge? Washing machine? Even the TV? All your stuff is still there, right? No, not those. The computer. Just as I suspected. Roger was looking for the computer I bought for Sam. I casually mentioned it. The computer. I bought that for Sam. It's mine too, so I plan to dispose of it.
You haven't disposed of it yet?
His voice suddenly rose. Caught him, I continued. Yes, it's better to sell it on an online marketplace than to throw it away.
Please, give me back that computer.
Huh? It's mine. Asking to give it back is weird. When I said this, Roger was at a loss for words. However, this wasn't enough for revenge. So, I proposed something. How about this? Will you buy it from me?
Buy it?
Yes, I was planning to sell it anyway, so if you're buying, I'll sell it. At that moment, Roger's voice brightened.
Okay, since it's used, $500 should be enough, right?
Huh? No way it's that cheap. How about $10,000?
Huh? What's that? Overcharging?
Roger's voice grew louder in frustration. I'm not forcing you to buy. Besides, why do you want a used computer? When I asked, Roger started to panic noticeably.
Well,
Just buy a new one.
Fine, $10,000 it is. I'll pay. Just sell it.
Internally celebrating, I agreed to the deal and informed Roger. Afterward, Roger kept asking me to send the computer immediately, but my belongings were with the moving company. I couldn't send it right away and asked him to wait until I settled in my new home. Roger kept complaining but reluctantly agreed. A few days later, I finally found a new place to live. With Sam's help, I moved into my new home. Right after that, Roger transferred the money for the computer. I handed it over to Sam. Sam, use this money to start living on your own. I thought it was a good opportunity. Sam began living alone in an apartment near his college. Finally, I sent the notorious computer to Roger's house. However, I removed the external disk and sent that disk to Roger's company with a letter to his boss. Soon after, Roger's boss contacted me. She asked me to come to the company on a specified day. At Roger's company reception, I gave my name and waited. A woman slightly older than me appeared. Nice to meet you. I'm Tanner, the department head. Are you Roger's ex-wife who sent the letter? Yes, nice to meet you. Please, come to my office. I followed Tanner. Eventually, we arrived at the department head's office. Inside, a solemn-looking Roger was sitting on the sofa.
Iris, why are you here?
Roger stood up abruptly. To get revenge on you. I smiled, and Roger turned pale. That's when Tanner intervened. Let's start the conversation, shall we? With Tanner's words, Roger's face changed color. Sweating profusely, Roger sat back down. First, I'd like to ask Roger, what's this about? Tanner placed the external disk of the computer on the table, the one I had sent to Tanner. Roger immediately averted her gaze.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But this is what your ex-wife sent us, and it contains our client data, doesn't it? Tanner glared sternly at Roger. Roger began to make excuses in a fluster.
I must have mixed up some work files in there by mistake.
We prohibit taking client data out of the office, don't we?
That's a mistake.
If only he'd tell the truth. I was laughing inside. This was just before Roger and I divorced. Roger had been acting strangely. One day, when I returned from shopping, I found Roger sitting in front of Sam's computer. The computer was in the living room, of course under the pretext that I was using it. But there was no reason for Roger to use it, because he had his own computer in his room. Curious, I secretly watched Roger. He was doing something, then shut down the computer. Pretending not to notice, I checked the computer's contents the next day. There were unfamiliar data files on the external disk. It turned out to be some kind of database. I realized then, Roger took company data, using someone else's computer as a hiding spot. Despicable. Soon after, we divorced. That's why I took the computer. But I wonder if Roger expected me to dispose of it. He might have thought I'd leave it since Sam used it. Anyway, Roger must be regretting it now. Looking at Roger, he seemed about to cry. What do you mean? Speak clearly.
I'm sorry.
Roger finally admitted his guilt. Afterward, Tanner scolded him severely. Then Tanner told him, taking company data is theft, or a violation of the Unfair Competition Prevention Act.
No way.
I'm filing charges against you. At Tanner's words, Roger burst into tears. He apologized to Tanner repeatedly.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
No, you'll face responsibility in both criminal and civil court.
No.
Roger broke down crying. Seeing Roger weeping pathetically, I couldn't stop laughing inside. That's what he gets for doing strange things. Serves you right. Just as I was thinking about the revenge for his infidelity, there was a knock on the door. Then a woman's voice. Did you call for me, Director? Yes, come in. I recognized the voice. As I was thinking, the door opened. Excuse me? Ah, I exclaimed as soon as I saw the woman. At the same time, she looked at me. Then she yelled, why are you here? It was Janet who shouted. It's complicated. Quiet. This isn't a place for an old lady like you. Janet quickly covered her mouth, realizing Tanner's red-faced anger. Tanner, clenching her jaw, motioned Janet to sit down. Janet quietly took Roger's place. Tanner then asked Janet, By the way, Janet, I have a question. You're starting your own business, aren't you? Yes. In the same field as us? Tanner's stern gaze was intimidating. Janet, feeling pressured, answered reluctantly. Eventually, Tanner's conversation reached the crux. You're in charge of client data management, right? Is everything okay on your end? What do you mean? Janet was sweating. That's when I realized. These two were in cahoots. They planned to take out the client data together. In short, here's the deal. Roger and Janet were both taking out company client data. Janet would use this data to start her own business first. Then Roger would join her, and they would run it together. The answer was so clear it was almost boring. Just using others for their own gains? How pathetic. I sighed. Meanwhile, the conversation continued. Tanner was grilling Janet. My subordinates investigated, and it seems there has been a leak on your side too. You're involved, aren't you? Janet looked down at Tanner's question, but soon she raised her head and began making excuses. It's not true. This is Roger's doing. She was about to continue when Roger got angry. He stood up and started complaining to Janet. You're blaming me? You were the one who started this. Huh? I don't know anything about that. You did it on your own. What? You wanted to marry me. That's why. I was fed up with their ridiculous excuses, so I pulled out some documents from my bag. I placed them on the table and addressed the bickering Roger and Janet. This is the result of your affair investigation, but this woman here has a boyfriend. What? Roger hurriedly picked up the documents. There was a photo of Janet holding hands with another man. Janet, what's this about? It's none of your business. Quiet. You've been deceiving me. Roger raised his voice. So sick of their ugliness, I muttered. She just preferred a younger man over an old guy like you. Roger seemed to remember what he had said to me and suddenly quieted down. Well, anyway, you'll be taking responsibility. Get ready for it. Wait a minute. This is a crime. Make your excuses at the police station. Janet was silenced by Tanner's stern reprimand. After that, the company filed charges against Roger and Janet. They were soon arrested for theft and other crimes. The company also filed a civil lawsuit against them for damages. Of course, Janet's plan to go independent vanished. Her boyfriend apparently left her too. Now the two of them are busy making excuses in court. But I doubt their excuses will hold up. It'll be interesting to see how the trial goes. Even if they get fined, I doubt they can pay. I'm glad I got my alimony before it went that far. By the way, I'm enjoying living alone. My design work is going well, and my income is stable. It seems Sam has a girlfriend now, and there's a lot to look forward to. I guess it will get noisy when the grandchildren come along, but for now, I'm enjoying the peace.